Good afternoon, everybody. I know you all are tired and this is the last session. So I really request you, please leave your phone down and listen to us. Hello. Attention, please. Call the guys from the corridor also. They need to listen how to make the brand into powerful brand. Thank you, Amit, for giving me very interesting topic because this topic is really close to my heart. I've been in Middle East 24 years, making the products into powerful brands. I have launched around 50 brands, but I have only 30 because 20 I could not. I could not make 20 brands into the powerful brands. Those products could not sustain with a lot of reasons, especially in the nutraceutical industry where the brand has to be trustworthy, the retailers have to support, the professionals have to recommend, right? And the consumers have to trust and repeatedly buy it. And it's not easy, to build such a powerful brand, the product in the powerful brand. And today we have the experienced innovators, founders here. I was talking to them, I was really impressed. We will be talking and I'll be asking them questions how to make the products into a powerful brand. So my first question will go to Satyadev. Satyadev, your philosophy has been consistently revolved around preventive wellness and Nutra health, but today's consumers are surrounded by aggressive health claims everywhere. So where should nutraceutical founders draw the ethical line between supporting wellness, supporting prevention, and behaving like medicine?
I think this is a very pertinent question, and probably yesterday with one of the sessions I had the same question, that if you see around yourself, despite advent of all these modern medicines, the diseases are not going down. While medicines have their own space, I would still say that nutraceuticals need not compete with them. They have their own purpose. So it is more about, I think, supporting the, I would say supportive, promotive function of nutraceuticals is reserved for nutraceuticals. And that's where I think they should focus on. But preventive healthcare, I think, has to get, and I really want attention of all the audience here, that the preventive medicine has to get into the ecosystem. We can't just keep talking about it. Even at the regulator level, I think also there needs to be some more courage, and that courage can come from clinical evidence, no doubt about it. So do some research on that. I think it has been one of the most neglected industry. I would say that what it deserves much more better. Otherwise, you tell me, I have been in the pharma industry for last 2 decades. What is that one product which can save you from getting diabetes, can save you from getting hypertension, can save you from getting cancer? So the point is that there are wisdom available in the legacy, and that is the time I think it should come. But yes, certainly, I think that the lines are already drawn very clear. They are not going to encroach into the medicine. But certainly, preventive healthcare has not just to remain a proverb. मैं आपको छोटा सा शेर सुना देता हूँ. उठाना खुद ही पड़ता है थका टूटा बदन फजली, कि जब तक सांस चलती है कोई कंधा नहीं देता. जब तक सांस चलती है कोई कंधा नहीं देता.
क्या बात है.
आपको प्रिवेंटिव मेडिसिन की बात आप नहीं करेंगे, मैं आपको फियर फैक्टर की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. But it has to come into the ecosystem.
Oh, yes.
Which is not happening today.
Yeah, we are waiting for the symptoms to come, right? And then we start looking for the prevention. So my second question will be, many startups today borrow scientific language very aggressively, right? So what is one thing founders often call science, but that's actually just a marketing vocabulary?
I think this is another very tricky question. What has happened is that people are using, science to their benefit. I see many packs writing science bagged. Most of the manufacturers, if you see their packs, they write science bagged. And then I wonder, what is science unbagged? Science bagged, it has to be science bagged. I think that's the fundamental premise. Now, the language that we often use, I think if you really look at the FSSAI guidelines, when we also work on the products, try to make out that what kind of pack labels you have to say. Everywhere you have to say helps, supports, very good. So if it is only helping and supporting, I think fine. But yes, I mean, it should, the marketing language should not be just drawn from science. It should actually be more evidence backed. So more often, I think people are taking to their advantage that sometimes they use more of the, because they want to be marketing wise adventurous. I think they have to be like, I would say they should caution carefulness in that.
So my third question is actually, which you already mentioned a little bit about that India still remains a market where consumers often become serious only after the symptoms appear. And how do you build a true preventive nutrition culture in such an environment? And how important is education versus fear-based marketing?
How important is?
Education versus fear-based marketing.
Fear-based
marketing, yes.
So normally the insurance industries have used often, you would have seen LIC, आप क्या आपके साथ भी जीवन के साथ भी जीवन के बाद भी, then you will see a lot of policy bazaar advertisements probably coming, and they do talk about the fear. Probably preventive healthcare cannot be fear driven unless it is imbibed into the very I think our culture and the way that we really look at it, all that. So you had one more part of the first part. Can you just repeat that question?
How do we build a true preventive nutrition culture in such an environment? This is very important.
I mean, I'll just like to get some audience attention also. Tell me, like today we have got so many gummies that make you sleep. Fundamentally, I'll ask you, why are you not sleeping well? Do you know that 65% Indians wake up tired? They wake up tired. So I think there is something, again, as I said, we are forgetting about basic yoga, meditation. I would put it as in one word, just to be very precise. I call it as DNA. We have to re-engineer our DNA in terms of diet, nutrition and activity. So harkat mein barkat hai. That is the, I think, only one formula. Keep moving, keep active. And I think otherwise you don't, so if you are really active, you don't need to take gummies to sleep, honestly.
Okay, thank you so much. So now my question to Karthik.
Hello.
Karthik, Hello. True Healthy operates very close to science-led and the clinical push and nutrition. And you were talking about that. I was really impressed when you explained that. And a lot of startups today focus heavily on branding and digital marketing.
Right.
But before scaling a nutraceutical brand, what are the true non-negotiable behind the scenes? So what would you prioritize?
The very important part whenever the Nutra we market. So as a nutrition or you can say as a marketeer, we should never compromise on the clinical dose of any product. And second is the integrity in sourcing the ingredients. These two which I want to focus. And yes, rest of the part like people knowledge of a salesperson, or you can say the other part of products. That's all is fine. But these 2 points which I think it's non-negotiable whenever you design any product or you market any products in that case.
Okay, and there are many digitally native brands now that want to enter into pharmacy channel or doctor's channel and institutional healthcare system. Which mistakes do the D2C first founders commonly make while entering this ecosystem?
See, the common, if you just see into the market, since I am purely into the offline, we are not into D2C directly. So most of the mistakes what I have been seen into this, the rationality of dosage in the any of the formulation, that is one very important part, and the clinical validations. And second is the dosage format, you can say. This all actually are interlinked to each other, right? And the very important part, as rightly said by Satya sir, that the tall claims. Normally, the D2C, they do a tall claims. They, as per the regulation of FSSAI, we should use means it supports the benefit, right? The product supports. That's the what we are saying. So these are the few points which we would like to highlight, that these are the D2C brands should take care of it.
Okay. Now my last question to you, that consumers today can choose gummies, powders, sachets, strips, beverages, capsules, bars. What should founders think strategically about dosage format? Because often these best science dose does not win. The most consistently consumed format wins.
In your question itself, the consume word is very important. In Nutra, we don't say patients, we say
We say
consumers,
consumers,
right? We don't say doctors, we say healthcare practitioners, right?
practitioners, yes.
So, as you rightly said, in choosing the dosage format, we would always love 2, 3 points. One is the format, what you have been asking about. So, first we have to identify the indication where we want to promote our brand. That is one. The unmet health need, you can say. Second, the consumer compatibility and adherence of the dose as per the clinical dosage. So, what we are focusing is purely each and every food supplement or the nutrition what we design should give efficacy and safety. So, whatever suits as per the efficacy and safety, we should design that
Let the
format.
consumers choose, but
Yes.
efficacy, yeah,
Yes.
that's true. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Now, Parth, I like the name of your company, Decode.
Thank you so much.
Really. So my question to you is that longevity has become one of the most exciting conversions right now globally, everywhere. Like, if the YouTube also, I see it's really, really full. Everything is around this right now. But it's also very vulnerable to hype. How do you build a longevity brand that remains science-led and credible without crossing into exaggerated stories?
I think our story majorly lied between how we control the overhype of this particular industry, what's going around, but how this industry is also undermining the real essence of data. There are a lot of claims which goes around like stop aging. When we talk about longevity, but people have started marketing stop aging or say never age. That's something which is overclaimed. I think our focus always have been in relying on real data, collecting data, understand how really this particular longevity industry is going to build for, well, it's not one, it cannot be built in 1 year. Probably it's a decade set of brand building which you will require for this set of industries. It's a heavy investments on real research, real data from India. And I think our major aim with Decodage have been on building data sets for India and then building on products over the same.
Okay. Now, my next question is Decode Age operates in an intersection of biomarkers, health aging, personalization, and supplementation. So, where does the personalization become genuinely useful, and where does it become premium packaging?
I think on the marketing part, or say when it is when you build any particular technology which gives you a similar set of answers, that's more of a premium packaging. I'll give you an example. You build up a tech where you have only 5 things to be predicted. That's an over marketing, or that's called the premium packaging set of branding. But when you can ultra personalize, having markers like microbiome markers, or you say blood biomarkers, you collect history of life, health data, and then you personalize this particular journeys. This kind of journeys will really work in the coming period of time, and this is the real
over marketing. Yeah, over marketing teams.
Yes.
That's true. Do you believe the future nutraceutical company will evolve from products to protocols to diagnostic to measurable health outcomes? And are consumers being ready for precision-led supplementation journey?
I think we have seen the first set of wave, which was more of nutraceuticals or nutrition. Then it was more of collecting data. today we have reached in a intersection of personalizing the longevity journey or personalizing health journey. I think the next set of companies would be built on personalized data, and customers are now ready. We see good acceptance across uh, Indian regions too. When we were said that we are 10 more years back in terms, we have good companies in India who have started building on personalized journeys, and customers have started accepting this journey. So I think the next set of companies would be personalized.
Personalized. Okay, now Ankur, I have a question for you. Many startups begin with the ingredient trend, but enduring brands usually begin with a meaningful consumer problem. So what is the difference between selling collagen, protein, NMN, or truly owing a consumer health space like gut health, health aging, metabolic illness, or the woman's health?
So I think the nidus of any consumer healthcare proposition, of course, starts with an ingredient or a formulation. But Parth was talking about the fact that protocols and programs are becoming important, and there's a reason for it. I think preventive healthcare is still, in my view, some distance away when it comes to India. I think India is going through its own self-care moment. Supplements are supplements and not substitutes. But what's important at the core of it is adherence. I mean, today, what brands need to do, and they are doing, by the way, is they go and understand the consumer journey. Because the same, and we had somebody speak about sleep in the panel before. Sleep could mean so different when it comes to a perimenopause, to a athlete who's just trying to solve for a better performance and recovery, to somebody who's a millennial hustler. So the same problem statement could have very different meanings and expectation when it comes to consumers.
Definitely.
And eventually what it boils down to is how smartly am I able to identify the personalized journeys and build the wrapper of programs around it. So I think the hyper personalization, as we all talk about it, very loosely, is more about how do you go from a product to a program to a regime to an adherence, and that has to work as an engine together to solve for the problem. And that is where fundamentally an ingredient or a formulation or a product becomes a great brand.
So one size fits all will not work. Right. Yeah. My next question will be, when you evaluate nutraceutical startups, what makes you reject a company even when early revenue looks exciting? So is it weak repeat purchase, exaggerated claims, poor margins, weak differentiation, regulatory risk, or a founder immaturity, or anything else from your experience?
I think it's never one reason that kind of leads us to maybe not getting convinced in investing in something. I think let me flip that question to say what builds a conviction for us to invest. It starts with a very, very clear proposition, and it doesn't have to be this is an ingredient I have researched, developed, tested, this is science backed. Most of the founders we come across have a clinical validation of that ingredient in some other environment in a real world, in most cases. I think what we look for, I mean, I personally look for, and again, every investor will look for it very differently, is three things. One, have the founders gone very deep in understanding the problem statement and wowed us with the insights? If you are thinking of the problem statement almost as much as a desperate, anxious consumer would, I think you've got the first step right. I think the second important point is, have you identified where do you fit in the journey? Today, a product could make a promise, which could be right, but it will still not resonate with the consumer because you're going and talking to a consumer at the wrong part of the journey. Somebody who's fundamentally at an IUI IVF stage will not think about anything else early in the journey because they're desperate to become mothers. There are many such examples, right? I mean, somebody is at insomnia stage and you're telling them to buy melatonin, they'll buy it once, they'll buy it second time, but they won't continue to buy it, right? So it's very important for founders to understand that, and that's what we gauge. I think the third important point, which is to me possibly the most important, is on the founders, right? In terms of saying, are the founders willing to make good with the proposition beyond the product? To me, that comes with the fact that they understand it is a first principles problem of converting a journey into almost a mathematical equation, right? And it cannot be about getting access to many channels. It cannot be about an FMCG way of building it. It has to boil down to the fact that, hey, look, I know it will not be a one size fit all. I don't have answers today, but I'm thinking in that direction. At an early stage, that is all the clarity that we're seeking. We're not looking for answers. So I would say those are things that attract me. And at the end of it, if I'm willing to roll out of my apartment on a weekend to meet these founders for the next many years, that's the game set match.
And my last question to you will be, on a positive side, what makes you lean forward in a room and think this brand has the potential to become a serious long-term company?
It's very similar to the points I kind of alluded to, but I would sort of talk about the fact that what makes a brand a very large, kind of a player in this space. I think till the time you've kept consumer at the center of it, right? Look, there are various forms of science of solving a problem always. There will be influencers, there'll be detractors, there'll be naysayers. I think whom are you solving for, right? If somebody is trying to solve for the influencing ecosystem or the detractor ecosystem, you've got the problem wrong. The magic of this problem statement and the answer lies in the fact that, have you been able to demonstrate consistently that your proposition is able to deliver measurable, meaningful outcomes? There will be categories where measurable, meaningful outcomes is just a feeling.
Yes.
You're feeling good, which means you're feeling less anxious. There is no measure of it, right? And that's the reality. I think the sooner brands and founders realize it early in the journey, it will help them avoid the mistake of making a false claim. I think it is not about trying to sell something incorrectly, but it is more about your claim is not talking or resonating to the problem statement. And that is where things start falling. Right? So how do you define the problem statement, link it to a measurable outcome? If it's not measurable, it's fine. It could just be a feeling, but more importantly, make your claims on the outcomes and test it out accordingly. It doesn't have to be a mathematical.
And I think there's one more question. I will go with it also. It's important because since we are talking about startups today are confused about channels, and everyone wants D2C, quick commerce, marketplace, pharmacies, modern trade, exports, and doctors. So for a young nutraceutical startup with liquid capital, what should realistically come first? Which channel to build? Trust, margin, scale, or long-term equity?
I think it has to be trust. And look, very early on, and the power of digital is always that you'll be able to build the pipe to the consumer and talk to them, whoever he or she is, day in, day out. That is what, it's a hard yard, but that is what goes behind building a long-term sustainable brand in the consumer space, and any consumer brand for that matter. And hence, at least I'm a personal strong believer that early on you've got to have the D2C pipe. I think as channels evolve, and I always say this, that India is going from biryani to biceps to biohacking, which means that people will start feeling comfortable shopping for some of these products across channels. What you've got to figure out is, for example, a particular channel is just playing a role of adherence. Quick commerce today, a lot of people underestimate the potential that it actually is helping consumers stay course onto that nutraceutical journey because it's available and they've not remembered replenishing their stock. So each channel has to be, you peel the onions of the channel and figure this out in terms of what does it mean for my proposition. Lastly, on the offline channels, it is of course, a very important one, but it has to only come in at the right time. If your power of brand and hence the mind share, which is not tested out and validated, will not result in offtake in the offline channels. It's a sequence, there is science behind it, but more importantly, what the consumer is feeding back to you is the most important and the critical aspect to decide before you start venturing into new channels. But I'm a big fan of always having the D2C and a direct pipe to the consumer.
Okay, now I have a group question to all of you. Anyone can answer it. What breaks first when a nutraceutical startup scales too fast? And I won't give options. If you want, I can give options, but maybe.
To try to scale too fast, I think the first thing that probably will break is the trust. I mean, you will start making unfounded claims, you will start making shortcuts. Probably, I mean, when you are more commerce driven, there has to be balance of science and commerce, but I think that's what.
I agree to your point. So, second point I would like to highlight is the discipline. Since I got a field force, so unnecessary pressure will build up in sales. So, lots of things.
Trust
The entire
and,
discipline and the trust will also break.
trust and discipline.
Yes.
I think the most important uh, point would be focus of founder, because when you start scaling, आपको सब कुछ करना है. Now you cannot do everything, and if you are focused in terms when you are growing and growing fast, I think that is the most important discipline and is required when.
Trust, discipline, and focus.
I would rather ask you rather, in fact, because often when the founders get a lot of money and then they are under pressure to scale too fast,
I think
what happens? Maybe I think Mr. Ketan can tell about that also.
So, yeah,
We
Ankush.
insist on founders to scale very fast, but I think the ability to deliver outcomes consistently at scale sounds very easy, but done very hard. So, as you scale fast, if you hit some blind spots, and to me, that links back to the trust, the discipline, the adherence, the founders' focus, and everything else. Because if you're not able to deliver the outcomes, there is no business.
I think even working capital will make, like, if you're too fast.
Actually, scaling
can
too
follow.
fast doesn't fail 100% time. I mean, there are Carl Lewis and these sprinters who run too fast. It all depends, as you said, no, those blind spots you have to just be careful about.
We do
It
have
does
a
happen.
lot of good examples of brands who've scaled fast, and they've managed to stay on course. So it is horses for courses as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So our final rapid fire to all the panelists. One metric you trust more than revenue. One metric you trust more than revenue.
More than revenue?
Yeah.
I think credibility.
Credibility. One thing startups should never compromise on. For your part.
Quality.
Quality, yeah, that's true. 1 hour hyped category today. Don't tell longevity. 1 hour hyped category today.
protein.
Ankur, one category with massive future potential.
I think the nutraceutical wrapper around whole GLP-1 is going to be a game-changing moment. So whether it's electrolytes, essentially hydration, whether it is about protein, whether it is about fibers in GI, or whether it is about erectile dysfunction, and testosterone or collagen. So anything which is going to be the second order side effect or requirement for GLP-1 is going to be massive.
Maybe on Par's behalf, I would say healthy aging.
Healthy aging.
Aging is always a no.
Healthy
aging is
aging.
the new
So,
category.
any of you can answer this question. One more important than marketing in the nutraceuticals. What is one more thing that is more important than the marketing in the nutraceuticals?
Is a trust of consumer.
Yeah. Ethical marketing, not marketing, but ethical marketing. Okay. One sign a consumer genuinely trusts your brand.
Retention and
Retention.
reviews.
Yeah, retention.
I think whether it is positive or negative reviews, if the consumer is putting the effort to give a review on your product or the brand, which means they're genuinely thinking about you.
I will just add to it, in fact. To me, the biggest signs of trust of a consumer is not repeat purchase. That is one sign, first sign. But I think the real sign is that if I recommend you,
Yeah,
you go and buy,
recommendation.
because I'm
Yes.
using it. I think that word of mouth is the biggest trust.
That's right. One word that defines a true power brand. One word that defines a true power brand. It defines a
True power brand. I think I just probably quality or whatever we say, ultimately the output is the credibility. तो मैं तो कहूँगा भरोसा. So a power brand commands such a respect and admiration that even if it fails once, I think consumers are ready to excuse it. I think it happened with Nestle Maggie.
Oh, sorry, I have it here. Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you so much, panelists. Anyone has any questions? So I think we have learned from this whole discussion that when you are building a brand, you can copy a brand. You can copy the ingredients. You can copy the marketing, right? But you cannot copy the trust. So brand building, what I understood is trust. The consumer's trust, a brand that a professional can recommend, a consumer can trust, a retailer can support you, right? Thank you so much, guys.